Money will not buy you happiness, my friend, but it will help you look for it in nicer places. You know, some think millionaires have no problems, but Joseph Richardson had one. The wealthy New York contractor owned an unusual ribbon of land, 100 feet long and just a few yards wide. No one had invented water slides as of yet, so he approached his wealthy neighbor by the name of Sarner. Would he purchase the lot for $5,000? Sarner wanted it. He would add the land to his adjoining land and build an apartment complex. But he said, "I have no use for it. You can't build on it, so I'll take it off your hands as a favor. I'll give you $1,000. Richardson blew a gasket. "You tightwad," he yelled, or something like that. "That's 1/10 of what it's worth. I'll show you." And a wicked idea began forming in his head. So it was that in 1882, Richardson built a gaping eyesore of a house that ran the full length of his property and was just 5 feet wide. Filled with tiny rooms, the house was barely able to hold a stick of furniture. Passers-by talked and gawked. Neighbors complained. Richardson cared not a smidge. He moved into his uncomfortable house, condemning himself to a prison of revenge, and there he remained until his death. Imagine. They are called spite houses, monuments to hate. Boston's smallest was built when two brothers inherited land. While one was away in the military, the other built a large home for himself on the land. Upon returning, his soldier brother erected a tiny spite house to block out sunlight and spoil his brother's view of the nearby river. I shake my head at such stories, but I too have been imprisoned by bitterness, by acid-injected memories that race through my mind late at night. Self-pity, resentment, rage. It's a bitter cycle. We know we should forgive, let go, and move on. But the memories swirl, stealing our joy, leaving us in a prison every bit as real as that tiny spite house. Oh, sure, we know what God asks of us. Get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, harsh words, and slander. Instead, be kind to each other, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, just as God, through Christ Jesus, has forgiven you. But how is this possible? Only by shifting our focus moment by moment from what has been done to us to what has been done for us. A fresh understanding of God's grace changes our outlook on hard times. They are part of His plan. He is at work in the mess, helping us become what He wants us to be. A fresh understanding of God's grace changes our attitude toward others, seeing that they too are works in progress. They too are in need of grace. You know, my father was part Scotch and part club soda until Jesus got a hold of his life, and it's true. I heard a story that is likely told about some of his ancestors. In a Scottish seaside inn, some fishermen were boasting about what they'd caught. One guy was this size, and so he had to throw it back in. The next guy, he was bragging about it. It was so big that he whacked a teapot and it smashed all over the wall. The innkeeper was shocked when he saw the ugly brown stain on the wall. "It'll never come out," he said. A stranger at a corner table stepped forward. "Perhaps not," he said, "but if my work meets your approval, sir, you won't need to repaint." The stranger removed brushes and paint from a box, sketched lines around the stain, dabbed bits of color here and there, turning the splotches of tea into the image of a deer with a magnificent set of antlers. At the bottom, he inscribed his signature, paid his bill, and left. The innkeeper stepped forward and squinted at the signature. The man was the much-loved wildlife painter E.H. Landseer. The ugly stain had been transformed for everyone to see. For now, you may wonder how it is possible for God to transform your pain and your hurt. It's what He does. That's His business. Ours is to bid bitterness goodbye. Is it easy? Are you kidding me? It's impossible without God's help. But it begins when we focus not on what has been done to us, but on what God's Son Jesus has done for us on the cross. He alone can remove the stains and transform us for good. Hey, I just want to thank you because every time you push the subscribe button, something really cool happens to me. And so would you just push it, just now? Thank you. Oh, pizza. Thank you. Excellent. Pepperoni.